words of life, where would I go? Have I got a better solution? Christy, you got a better solution than Jesus? No, not a better solution. He doesn't always tell us ahead of time. If he told us ahead of time, then we require no faith. It was Abraham's faith. He believed God was counted to him for righteousness. Abraham and Sarah wandered around in the wilderness for decades because God told them to. Well, they had a lot of evidence all along the way that baby was coming, didn't they? No, they really didn't. It was faith. Seemed like Liz, every year went by, it was becoming more and more impossible for Sarah to have that baby. But remember this, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not true.
Wandering around in the desert for 40 years took a lot of faith.
It did.
For Moses. With them grapers.
Yeah, Moses had a hat with them. And Moses was, anybody want to question whether Moses was a great man of God? He was. But, he was still a man. And, he just buried his sisters, and they won't quit complaining. 40 years, he snapped at them.
Here's your water.
But that wasn't God's plan. And Moses got punished for it. Go on. Verse number 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses. What's he doing here? James is going back to Old Testament language they will understand. Now, is he talking about that the people he's talking to in the church are out there having affairs with other humans? No. God's referring to himself. Because all of you in this room that are believers are married. I like to tell the ladies, just tolerate the husband you have because your good husband's coming. Okay? Guys, we're married. Tolerate your spouse because your good one is coming. We are espoused, engaged to Christ as believers now. So all through the Old Testament, who's God married to? Nation of Israel. Every time Israel went off after Balak or all these other gods, Baal, whoever, that was the same as if they were committing adultery against him. So guys, how upset are you if your engaged wife or your wife is over here talking cutesy with some other fella? You don't like it. Ladies, some younger little cutesy pie girl has got the eye of your husband and they're making all nicey nice to one another and you know what she's trying to do. How much do you like it? Not at all. Not at all. So James is saying, when you're doing all these things, going after the world, because remember, who's the god of this world? The devil. The devil. Who's the head of the worldly system? The devil. When a Christian likes to snuggle up and get cuddly, get friendly with the world, you're cheating on God. He doesn't like it. God's a jealous God, the Bible says. The world is a system of man's rule. Who's the righteous ruler of us? God. But what do we tell him? No, God, I'll rule myself. I'm in charge. No. We're not. Look at 1 John 5:19.
That way. What chapter?
1 John 5:19.
5:19. It's just past Peter. I got it. James.
The Bible says, and we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So if we are Christians, we are of God. We're called out of the world. We are God's. We're his children now. We're his bride. Why would we want to be a part of the world? And we understand that God's jealousy comes from a heart of love. Our jealousy not always is out of a heart of love. It can be many faceted. But God's jealousy comes from a heart of love. understand this fact. This is a big one. And if you get a hold of this, this will help you with God. You ready? God doesn't need you.
Nothing you're doing is holding him up.
God doesn't need you, but he wants you. Now, oftentimes, we genuinely I need my wife, or I would never get any meals made or laundry done. I would be helpless without her, okay? But God doesn't need us. What great thing did you bring to the table on the trade when Jesus traded his life for yours? What value did you bring? Can God keep on going on if Zach decides to check out? Yeah. God doesn't need Zach or Mark or Sandy or any of us, and he doesn't. But he wants you with a true love. Like a romantic love. Like he pursued after you all of your days until you finally chose him, and he was thrilled that you chose him. There is nothing sinful or wrong about God's jealousy for you because it's coming from pure love. A love that always has your best interest at heart. Now, sometimes our love is not in the other person's best interest. Sometimes it's in our selfish, lustful, vindictive. If we're all single in here, I only want Charity because Zach wants her too. And I'm going to hurt Zach by trying to... You're not Charity. I'm thinking...
Krista.
Krista. I'm thinking Charity. Charity used to be in my Sunday school class many years ago when we were at the other church. And, so is my motivation for wanting to, if we were all single, for me to date her, is my motive pure and one that is in her best interest? Absolutely not. I'm trying to get at Zach and hurt him and use you. Does God ever use people? Like to hurt them and to what? No, never. Never. It's always a pure motive out of love. And it's a unconditional love. Try that with your family member or your spouses. We strive to have unconditional love, but ladies, if your husband treats you like dirt, you're going to love him less. We've treated God like dirt a good chunk of our lives. The love was no less. It was no less. We think back about past relationships, we see those were not necessarily true, perfect love. But God's always is. So it is right for God to be jealous about that when we go adulterating after the world. Not necessarily sexual adultery, but you know what? Instead of coming to church on Sundays, I'm going to go to the Bengals game because all my buddies from work are going to go there. Okay, and I'm just picking on Bengals. I see David's Bengals shirt. I gave up on football. They broke my heart too many times, David. I don't follow the NFL anymore. I learned a hard truth. Yelling and screaming at the TV did not change the outcome. So I thought, my life is too short. I got enough stress without getting all upset over the NFL anymore. But if you're a Christian, should God be jealous? Is it okay